If Airstream parking were an Olympic sport, this would be a good entry. Lots of clearance on this side, you can see. And lots of clearance over here. You can see a gap here, and on the way in, I had to avoid that gutter right there. And it even fits behind the fence when the fence is closed. And that's pretty amazing. This is the currently wandering Airstream. And this is an Airstream Basecamp pre-production model that we are taking out for the weekend. And we're pretty excited about it. We are about to hitch up and head down to the Wedge in the Santa Fe Swell, and we're gonna take this baby for a spin. Basecamp, slept really well, toasty warm actually. The a little too warm. The combined furnace hot water heater thing was interesting, but kept us super warm all night. And it was actually quieter than the furnace in our regular Airstream 27. So that's pretty good. Anyway, it's good. It's chilly last night. It's looking better now, and we're going to hop on the bikes and head off to ride along the rim of the Little Grand Canyon here. So we're pretty excited about that. Rock, which very quickly drops away down into the Little Grand Canyon. Our ride today is going to take us back at this narrow neck here, and we're going to follow the rim around this way quite a distance, and then we'll loop back and probably come back on the road to speed the return. There's the river down there, suitable in season for rafting and kayaking and stuff, and lots to explore here in the Santa Fe Swell. The campground is just slightly back over that way. Some beautiful scenery around here. Lunchtime, and we found ourselves a spectacular view to enjoy it. It's good. What is for lunch?
Carrots.
Some carrots.
We got perky jerky.
Perky jerky. Big fan of perky jerky.
Beef teriyaki flavor.
Yes.
We also got.
Bless those people for sending us a box.
I know. We also got some Tessa leftover pro bars. So
nice.
Meal bars. One I made. So we'll see how good that ends up being. We might be sharing this one.
Might be.
And ooh.
Applesauce
See, we
and
got
bag.
Our veggies and our fruit
and our meat
and our and our grains. Like totally well balanced diet.
We have just hit the furthest point over here. Is the kind of the point where he started, and we went all the way down this canyon over here and all the ins and outs and everything else, and all this huge one here to this spot here, which has this amazing view. And now we're gonna ride back, kind of hit a campsite that's over here, and then we're gonna go ride back on the road because it's a heck of a lot shorter than what we just rode. Nice. Here is our.
You can see that?
You can't see that.
Too big. The trail looks like this.
Yeah, it follows the rim pretty close, and so it is windy like crazy. So we're going to take the short way back because we need to get back for some other stuff. But this has been fantastic. Beautiful trail, beautiful day, and just it's hard to convey like the depth of the scenery in front of us, but it's pretty fantastic. "21 miles?
Yeah. 21.5.
21.5 miles.
3 hours and 21 minutes.
How much of it was road? 4.5 or so?
Well, from 16 to 21. So 5.
So 5 miles back on the road, 15 miles there on the trail. And man, that 5 miles back on the road is a bit of a slog. It's not that exciting, and it's just kind of uphill. It's way shorter, but wow, is it a slog. So we were very happy to get back here. Time to go check on the base camp, see how she's doing. So we left, had a great time at the overlook, some great mountain biking and good times there, wonderful campfire. And we have decided to leave via driving through Buckhorn Draw. If you look ahead on the road here, there's this unassuming road. It takes you to down through this, and we don't really go down, although it feels that way because of the way the landscape is here in the Centerfell Swell. And so we are going to drive this today and enjoy some of the beautiful views from the bottom of the little Grand Canyon of Utah.
On the base camp.
With the base camp in tow, because it's a great adventure mobile. Pulled over here to take a look at some pictographs up on the wall over there here in the base. These amazingly beautiful canyons. Just stellar down here. That roughly concludes our trip through Buckhorn Draw, but man, what a drive. It's amazing. It's like a combination of driving through the bottom of the Grand Canyon and being in a Cars movie.
And flip-flops.
My wife just found a cactus and flip-flops. Perfect, babe. So beautiful here. I am incredibly glad we drove down this way. The road's in good shape. It might not always be in this good shape, but it was pretty fantastic. So we just had an epic drive up the down the Buckhorn Draw, which was really fantastic. Pretty. If you haven't seen the pictures of that, check out our Instagram accounts. We'll be posting those. We thought it was fair. We spent 2 days boondocking with the base camp, and we thought it was fair to give it a round review if we actually came in and like plugged into utilities for a night to like check it out. So we're actually here in a state park ready to do that. So there's a couple things about our review now that we're going to get down to talking about the base camp. A couple things to be aware of. Number one is that this is a pre-production model. This is the first few of these that they've ever made. So there's weird issues and everything else that like you just have to understand that's the way it is. All of those things will be fixed when it comes to the production versions. Things like USB plugs that like came apart and stuff like that. That's all going to be taken care of. So that's not the stuff that we're dwelling on. The second thing you need to be aware of in our review here is that we actually used this for the last couple of days and drove it some really beautiful places. We didn't just like walk around it a little bit in some magically clean place. So it's like dusty, and you'll see this. This is dusty.
It's a little dusty inside of it.
It really is. It's dusty in, it's dusty out.
Needs some help.
Yeah. So we actually use this thing, and so if stuff doesn't look all like perfect, prim and proper, like that's because we've actually been really heavily using this thing. So those are the things that you need to be aware of. If there's anything that we point out and we say we like this or we don't like that, make sure it's in the final like production specs when you actually go check it out and learn more about what's going on, because you want to make sure that what you're seeing here is what you're getting, and there may be some differences between now and the production model. So with those asterisks, disclaimers, warnings, situations in mind, we want to give you a quick outline of the outside, and then we're actually going to go get dinner because we're hungry, and then we're going to come back and show you what we like about the inside and how that's going. So let's do a tour of the outside first. Up front, they have ditched the propane tanks for this plastic shell, and underneath it here are the propane tanks. You can see underneath there with the standard auto switchover valve, and
the electric cable goes here.
Yeah, electric cable, anything else, any other fittings you want to put there, and then this thing latches down together here, and then this latches securely there so that you can make sure stuff doesn't come out underway. This model has a manual hitch thing, makes me really miss my electric jack. I have no idea what's going to be on the production version there as well. No, I did notice here there are some really solid metal hooks here that you can pry out and you can actually lock stuff to for like a bike, which is interesting. Someone did this determined is going to back the bolt off and do that, but that's a different story. And then you've got your running lights. The step is a one step just because it's a kind of a small trailer. You can kind of see the dust on the outside here. And then the tires here are not the, at least on this one, are not the standard marathons, which I was really happy about. They've got nice wide tread. They look like a light truck tire, which I was happy about. Two stabilizers in the back here that you can see underneath. Right there, spare tires under the back there. There's no stabilizers in the front, it's just the jack. And then there's an AC outlet over here on the outside. Here is the back entry door, which is really quite cool, and lets you put gear inside, and we're going to talk why that's important later for this particular model. But it's got a window there that you can put a shade over. You can snap up on the inside. Nice running lights there. There's the AC unit heat pump on the top. Over here, water. There's the water fill, street water. The electrical inlet, that's a 30 amp, and then this is the heat outlet for the heater, the water heater in the furnace, and I'll talk about that when we're inside later too. That's kind of unique. Here's an outdoor shower, but rather than having a second outdoor shower thing, it's just a hole in the wall that you can actually pass the shower head through, and you can reach your arm inside to adjust the temperatures, which is a little bit of a hack, but at the same time it like gets you an outdoor shower with very little grief. And then down here you have hose storage. You have a single outlet here and one gate valve because it's a mixed gray black tank in this model because it's small. And then here is a utility storage compartment there as well. And then there's no battery on the outside. That's an AGM stored on the inside. Two other really neat features about this. One is here is a quick shut off barbecue valve that for plugging in your barbecue with a little attachment there. And then there is at least on this model, there's a ZAMP solar panel plug-in for portable panels if you wanted to augment the 160 watts that come on top. You can't see those panels up here, but they live kind of in this little middle section. There's two panels up there for 160 total. I think, again, check your specs before you're sure about this. These windows, actually, they fold out. Sort of like the back of minivans. You can actually expand these from the inside, and these fan out for ventilation, which is really kind of cool. The rest of these windows here do not. This one and the ones that wrap all the way around, that's actually not a window, that's where the shower is. But these three in the front do not open at all. There is a vent in the top, of course, and then there's a really nice screen door we should show you. You want to be our Vanna White here, babe? Yeah, the door is dirty. So when you open up the door, because the door is straight, they have the opportunity to put in a screen door which stretches directly across the inside, and that's a really nice feature. I'm a fan of that. And then, of course, a window in the door that you can open as well. So that screen feature is actually really kind of nice. There is a screen, at least in this model, that you can snap over the back window, but it's not as easy. That one by the door is really pretty fantastic.
Time for dinner.
Definitely time for dinner. All right, so we are fed and had a great burger down the street and feeling much better. So it's time to do a review of the inside and talk about what we love and what we don't. We're not going to go over all the features because those are things that you can find on the website and the brochure. We just want to talk about like general fit form, like what things that this would be great for and how these things would work. So we're not going to hit everything. If you have questions, please ask in the comments or contact us and we'd be happy to answer any questions you have that we may not address. So let's get to it. So we're going to get started here in the kitchen. I'm sitting in the back looking forward to the kitchen here, and the first obvious thing about the Basecamp is the amazing windows that you get looking out the front. These are the black windows you see out and they're tinted, and these are pretty nice. They have these covers that you can, these nice fabric covers that you can zip up, and it zips all the way to the top to give you complete privacy, keeps out the light. It actually does a pretty good job keeping out the light during the day, which is pretty nice. So one of the things that I really love here is that underneath this corner right by the door is this storage compartment down here that actually goes fairly far back into the little space there. That's really nice for a place to kick shoes. Right now there's some related hitch stuff things sitting there, but that's a really nice place right there. And the shape is similar in this storage compartment. It kind of goes way back in here, and so it gives you a good amount of space. There's a microwave here. If this was ours, honestly, we'd pull the microwave and just utilize the additional storage space. But if a microwave is useful, then you can use that. And then over here, there's another additional bout of storage space. So there's a shelf that isn't up here with storage high and low, and then they have managed to fit a silverware drawer into this space that nestles into this little space to stay put. So this is the stuff we really love about the kitchen. Oh, one more thing. And we'll talk about this further as we talk about more power, but these right here are these cool little power ports that pull up, and they've got AC power and DC power, and they have and they go down like this, so you can pull them up, and they pull out of the countertop like that. So that's a really nice feature that we like. Overall, the counter space is not too bad. Right underneath here is the burner. You lift up the glass top, and then there's a 2-burner stove under there, which is pretty nice. So that's what we really like. And you get to rant about the...
I get to rant about the sink?
Yeah.
Okay, so dishwashing, right? You're in this because you're going to cook. So you're going to have dishes to wash. Don't mind that it's kind of tucked in the corner. I like that it's out of the way. This I feel, so in our Airstream, we have a regular faucet that's mounted outside the sink, and then they gave us like a cutting board cover that kind of fits over the sink hole. Here you have this faucet that bends over, and then this just folds down. But honestly, like, we don't ever use our sink cover, so this is annoying to me. I would much rather have a faucet that sits outside the sink, and then it's easier and like swivels. This is really, it comes out so far, it's really hard to get dishes under there to even like rinse them really well. Anyway, that's probably the only thing I really dislike about this kitchen is the faucet. Like, put it outside, get rid of the sink cover, and give me like a cutting board that I can put right there. Like, that would be super, super awesome. Yeah, we love these there's little cargo things up here. I don't know if you can find it out. There's a cargo holder up here that right now has got some like Airstream heads in them. But that's cool. We put a bunch of food up there on both of these. And that worked out really nice as far as like having some like extra space. Obviously you'd have to like get the right containers, and that's kind of how I feel about the kitchen in general. Like, if you have the right containers and you really like tweak your space, like, I think you could really make it work well for whatever use you want it in. But it's just fine tuning, and that's kind of what in the Airstream land we call organization. And it's a thing, I promise. So yeah.
So these upper head container things that you've got here are also present in the back of the Airstream. So I'm standing in the kitchen looking in the back now, and they have the same overhead compartments that are here, and they have one over here on the other side that we've got some blankets, we've got some pillows shoved up there, and some other miscellaneous stuff. This is just some clothes we have hung up on the rack right there, because there's actually not much of a closet. So this is definitely more suited to more of a weekender thing where you're unlikely to bring tons of clothes and things like that. So there's also a little bit of space by the door that you can put some stuff. I've got all your light switches here, and then there is some tank monitor. Here's kind of a universal control system. I'll show you in a second. And then there's a solar charge controller on the back on the other side.
And this also lifts up for...
Yeah, so this lifts up. It's got a screw loose, but
we should not forget that stuff.
No, we should not. So we have a handful of random stuff in there. Conveniently, it has some USB plugs for powering devices right there, which is super convenient. There's also...
Oh, yeah, because then you could sneak them up here and through there and just...
I think that's why.
Yeah.
So, we also have AC and USB over there. And then down at the bottom over here, we have some more... there's some USB plugs and some AC there. And then you have these two benches. The table's in the middle. They're in low mode right now because we're going to show you how the bed goes down. These tables can conveniently swivel to whatever configuration you want. There are gear hooks right here and right there, and on the other side, of course, that you can use to tie gear in. And then there's these flexible bungee cords that you could use to kind of keep things stable while you're driving. And that's because this is kind of designed like a mini gear hauler, so that you can actually open the back door and like put a kayak or put other things in here while you're moving. All the utilities are under here: the hot water, the electrical system, and the furnace, which is actually combined with the hot water, which is really interesting. I'll talk about that in a second. That's all under this side, so there's no storage there at all. And then there's that's all mostly controlled by this panel here. This side is storage, including this little cubby here by the back door. If you're coming in the back and you need a place to keep your shoes or gear, like hammocks that you want to be able to have easily accessible, that's a perfect place to stash it right there. You'll notice too, there's a step up from the floor.
And it's slanted.
And it's slanted that goes up at an angle. Underneath there on the bottom is actually a spare tire, and it also, but by raising it up like that, they're able to have a really nice departure angle to make it easy to do low clearance things and get the Basecamp into more difficult circumstances than if they had a lower bumper. So that helps a lot. So the storage underneath here is really kind of neat. The bench here lifts up, and you have access to the entire storage compartment here. This is the place. These are the taller table legs, by the way, that you can use. We have the short ones deployed, but the taller ones go there. And then there's these two boards here that we can use to set up the bed. And then there's a bunch of space there. You're going to want to use this for all of your gear, of course, but we also have we've got some random stuff in there. If you have the tents, if you have the tents that attach to the outside, this is a really great place to store them. Those are semi-large, so it depends on how many. When you're considering the tents, realize you're going to have to put them someplace, and that can be a little bit difficult. So one of the cool things about these two boards that Jess is pulling out here is you can actually put them across the back, and you can actually turn it into a U-shaped seating area, which is actually really kind of convenient. You can move and put some cushions there, and you can have guests that are sitting at this end kind of around the central tables, which is pretty neat. So let's do this here, and then I'll back up and I'll give you a little bit of a view.
And then these come off.
I think one goes one and one goes across the back or something, but the short answer is that you can kind of make a really cool U-shape as long as you're not opening the back or you have the screen there. And that's some extra additional seating. And if you want to make the entire area into a bed, then you can also do that as well. So keep in mind that one of the furnace outlets is here, and the other furnace outlet is back underneath there. So that's going to pump warm air in if you have that blocked, or you can kind of leave it half open depending on how you set the bed up. So that goes there. And works out pretty well. And what we're going to do now is we're going to fold out half the bed so you can see what it's like. You fold out this panel right here, and it rests on the tables when they're in their low mode. And then the back cushion moves over and cleverly fits exactly in the space you need to do the bed. And the other side works similarly, and you actually get this entire space turns into a big bed. It's quite large, except for the corners. You could fit like two people in here. We've slept in here comfortably.
Yeah, so I'm 5'11". Is someone asking about someone that's 6'2"? So I'm 5'11". This is about how I fit. So not.
And your feet are likely going to hang off the edge a little bit. If you want to sleep like more diagonal, you may be able to get a little more space. Or if you have like kids.
Slept this way too.
Yeah. If you have kids in here too, there's a little bit of space on the sides. It's kind of a bigger bed area if you want to sleep other kids next to you. If you have a young kid or a baby that you want to have spend the night with you, there's a little bit more space for that. And you can do the other side too to turn into
we're going to bed anyway.
This whole area. So this works pretty well.
Sit down.
Yeah, we got to redo cushions here.
So it's not, it's some adjusting every night. Like you can't have the bed and the table up.
But that's what you have in a small trailer. You make some trade-offs. One of them is the small trailers that you have to kind of fidget and futz a little bit to make things work out the way that you need. So this is kind of a large bed area here, which is really kind of nice, and it gives you some room to spread out. But you have to realize that like this is kind of what you have to futz with, and then the whole rest of the trailer, of course, is just this kitchen area right here, in the bathroom right here. So you have to be ready to realize that that's going to be a small space. So one of the downsides of these little cool power posts in the kitchen is that the DC ports are not powered by the battery. They're only powered when the AC is connected. The USB ports, are only powered when AC is connected, not actually by the battery directly, which is a little bit annoying because these could be powered directly and that would be more convenient. So you're going to need to rely on the other USB ports. There's one there and there's another one inside this compartment and at the other end to charge your devices. One of the annoying things about this is that there isn't any cigarette lighter DC power outlets anywhere in the Airstream. We have a couple in ours and we use those for our laptop. We have some DC power adapters and that's really convenient. You can also plug in an inverter in there if you don't have one in the Airstream to be able to get AC power a laptop or charge something that doesn't have a DC adapter that works with USB. And right now there isn't one. I suspect that may change just because of how useful that would be. There's probably going to end up being one in the trailer somewhere. That's certainly something you could add of your own, but that's a little bit of a downside for us at this moment, and I suspect that'll change. So make sure you check the specs when you're looking at a Basecamp to see if that's still the case. The other question we've had is about height clearance with my head. So I am 6 feet tall, and there's a little bit of a gap here, not a ton, right where the fan is, but there's not a ton of a height gap, but it doesn't really bother me. And of course, when you walk to the back of the trailer, it is slanted. I'll spin around so you can see. It is slanted, and so if I walk back here, I have to duck a little bit to be able to clear the AC unit, but it's not much of a problem because I'm usually going to sit down or I'm going to be lying down anyway, and so I haven't been bothered at all by the height. And walking forward to the kitchen here, walking and standing right at the front here, I don't really end up with any height problems. And again, I'm 6 feet tall, and then it slants down here towards the front, but I'm not standing over there anyway, so it doesn't really bother me at all. So that'll help if you have height questions about it. And I think the only thing left is the bathroom. So there's a mirror on the outside, which is convenient. You can see us, of course, and then it's a wet bath, and nice porcelain toilet, and then it's got the wet bath. And I showed on previously the outside we have the hatch that opens so that you can pass the shower through, which is not ideal, but not too bad for a situation. It's got a waterproof toilet paper holder so that you can not get your toilet paper wet. A really cool removable thing that snaps in the back here to hold any toiletries that you may want to take out of the shower, and some convenient hooks. And then I think there theoretically at some point is supposed to be a clothesline in there as well. So that's the bathroom, and yeah, that's really the Basecamp, I think. Anything that we missed?
No, it's cool.
So that's our review of the Basecamp. We're going to spend one more night in it, and then tomorrow we're going to be passing it along and heading home. We honestly, this is kind of weird, but we kind of miss our Airstream. We miss being an Airstream and having everything kind of set up the way that we like it. And it's been really fun to experience the Basecamp and review it. But at least with 3 kids and our traveling lifestyle the way that it is, I think that's going to work out. So the big point I want to share is the best use of the Basecamp. If really what you're looking for is a small trailer, a Bambi might be a better fit. The Basecamp, I think it really works well when you want to bring gear along with you, because with the back hatch makes it super easy to put gear inside. You can lash it down, you can store it, and that's going to be the really good use of the Basecamp. If you're not going to do that at all, and you don't really care about having a back hatch, then having
or like a higher clearance
or like the higher clearance, then a Bambi may end up being a better match for your needs, because of the way that like the bed is laid out and everything else. It's a little bit, it's small, but it's a little bit more suited to that. The rear hatch is really great if you're going to be bringing gear in and out, but if you're not going to, I'm not sure how useful that's going to be for you. So a weekend, and it's called the Basecamp, right? A weekend getaway that allows you to take toys with you, paddle boards or kayaks and things like that, is really kind of where the Basecamp is centered. And I think it can excel really well with that. You're not going to have a ton of clothes to bring. It functions really well. It'll handle weather just fine. And it has all the conveniences of solar and things, so that you can come home to a charged up house without running a generator. And that works really, really pretty well. So we like it. It's been a really fun experience being able to enjoy the Basecamp and try it out and see what it's like. And we're
Thanks,
looking forward to.
Airstream.
Yeah, thanks for letting us steal it for a couple of days. And we're if you have any questions that we didn't answer, please ask below in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them. Thanks.